Some really good goals. Double train action. Nice one, Chelsea. Cheers, lads. Good morning and welcome back to the A to Z of football, the challenge where I'm trying to see a football team beginning with every single letter in the English alphabet in one season. So far, it's going quite well, but I do have 8 letters remaining. On Sunday, the 25th of May, 2026, the Premier League season officially ends, and I have cast that as the finish line, the cut-off point for this challenge. We must get it done before that date. But, unlike previous challenges, mainly last season where I had to get a tattoo of a rival football team somewhere on my body because I lost a game of horse, I am confident I'm going to complete this one. Very confident. In fact, I'm that confident I'm going all in. If I fail this challenge, I will delete Rye Dog Vlogs. It'll be gone. There'll be no more. That's how confident I am. And remember, we still have a yellow card, which means we can cheat on one letter. That will come in handy, I'm sure. What is happening this afternoon, you may ask? Well, we're heading out to the South Central, which isn't a train line, Isthmian League fixture between Moneyfields and Kingstonian. Let's head out.
Money talks, dirty cash and watch.
Whoa, look at that.
Dirty cash, I need you all.
First stop was the pub to see the end of the Manchester derby, where Michael Carrick's reign started with a flourish. In the pub again with Coke this time. Heading into today's fixture as we look to tick off the letter K. Moneyfields, our hosts, are in 4th position, safely inside the playoffs with a 10-point cushion. But for Kingstonian, they want to get above that dotted line. They are 3 points adrift from safety with an inferior goal difference. So it's a very, very important game for them today. It's a must win.
You want a team sheet?
There you go.
Thank you. Team sheet?
No, it's okay. Thanks anyway. I hope we see some really good goals today. Look at this. This is cool. Little terrace. Gillingham away, eat your heart out. Kingstonian have a bit of a marauding history. I was trying to think where I'd seen the name before, and then it came to me. They actually leased their ground to AFC Wimbledon, obviously in 2001, when all that nonsense went down. So Kingstonian were facing administration, and they were forced to sell it to AFC Wimbledon. But nicely, AFC Wimbledon decided to keep them as tenants there, so that was quite a nice thing to do. So they did a ground share for a bit. And then in 2015, AFC Wimbledon sold the ground to finance their move back to their new ground. And it was bought by Chelsea, who duly kicked them out. Yeah, nice one, Chelsea. Cheers, lads. Always thinking of the little guys, in the Premier League. And so since then, their old ground has been used by Chelsea ladies. Isn't that always the way, The woman always keeps the house. Just the 2 little jumps in amongst the player entrances today. Disappointed, lads. The game eventually kicked off at 2 minutes past 3. Of course, that was a tribute to the 2 jumps we saw on the entrance. After just 5 minutes, Moneyfields rolled themselves into a 1-0 lead with a nice one-on-one finish from James Franklin. Kingstonian responded well with a couple of decent attacks, winning themselves a corner. And what followed was the slowest rendition of "Come On You, insert team name here" song I've ever heard. Corner. I told you. Very, very slow. Oh, did I mention there's a railway line at the end of the pitch as well? Probably should have mentioned that earlier on. Double train action. Here we go, watch this. Goal of the season coming up. Oh, unlucky. Maybe not. Train! Goal! Good goal. Half-time here at the John Jenkins Stadium in deepest Hampshire. It is Moneyfields 2, Kingstonian 0. 2 goals from James Franklin. So he's on a hat-trick. See if he can get one in the second half. There is in fact a hose pipe ban in place. That's right, it is dry January. So today we would be doing the coffee price index. How much for a latte at the John Jenkins Stadium? A reasonable £3. Up the dry January. So here's a random footballer for you. Kingston upon Thames is where Kingstonians obviously are based. So I'm going to pick somebody who was born there. And that is Stephen Reid, Irish international, born in London, but you know. That is my random footballer of the week, Stephen Reid.
Ball in towards one of the three of them there. Might fall edge of the box for Reid, who strikes! Oh, that's just sensational from Stephen Reid. It's his first goal of this season.
Hey, well, it's a good setup here. Looks like someone spent a lot of money on this field. Hey, come on. Have you ever seen a flag at the football that makes you hungry? Well, you have now.
He's all right, but he's no ball of Special K. Mwah.
No surprise that Moneyfields are winning this. They've trained really hard this week. The game suddenly became bogged down in a quagmire of yellow cards. Train. This is a type of ground where, like, you'd see 100 trains go past during the match. But if he was on public transport, you'd still have to wait an hour for yours at the end of the game. Moneyfields then put the game to bed to make it 3. Good goal. They were inches away from grabbing a 4th. Goal! Oh! Close. But in the end, they settled for 3 goals and 3 points. Something quite incredible occurred to me during that second half, and it's this. Kingstonian isn't a geographic location. Moneyfields, to my knowledge, isn't a geographic location. Have we just seen a fixture where both of the football teams are not named after a geographic location? If so, that could be a first. I'm trying to think of another example that there would be. Possibly, obviously, Port Vale, if they played Arsenal. But apart from that, in the English football system, I can't think of another fixture. Anyway, it finished here 3-0 to Moneyfields. We've ticked off the letter K because we saw Kingstonian away from home. Yeah, good little club. The game was all right. I thought Kingstonian actually in the second half played a lot better, and they had a couple of chances, but wasn't to be. So yeah, that is the letter K ticked off. If you liked it, give it a like. If you got something to say, especially about what I've just talked about, leave a comment. If you want others to see it for some reason, give it a share. That concludes this episode of the A to Z of football. I will see you in the next one, and until next time, bye! Good evening. A little bit of an extra bit here. Back in the editing suite, aka my computer. I need to talk about something. It's something quite important. Today, at the game between Moneyfields and Kingstonian, there was an incident towards the end of the game. Basically, someone used some really homophobic language. Now, at the time, I must admit, I found it funny. Okay? But that's a preference. Now, I'm not going to play the clip, but it's it's near the end of the game where there's a bit of a kerfuffle with the players, and one of the fans behind the goals, I'm going to say it. It was a child, okay? It was a child shouted the word. And the word is, it's a word that gets bleeped in a certain Christmas song now. In 2025, just gone. So you're not allowed to say that. It didn't offend me. It takes quite a lot to offend me, to be honest. But I just think, and I'm not going to dig out anyone here, but it was one of the children behind the goal that was making a lot of the atmosphere in the game. It's one of them who said it. So if that is your child, I would just suggest maybe pull them aside and say, look, language like that really isn't acceptable. It will serve you no good using that language, even in a football ground. So yeah, I don't like to bring politics or anything into football, but it's important that we educate ourselves and we don't let things like that slide. So again, I wasn't offended, but someone else in the ground might have been offended. So it's a sour note to end on, and that's the first time I've heard homophobic language at a football ground for some time. In that context, that it was so like, whoa, what the hell? But yeah, just a little word of them would be great, I think, going forward. Love the game, love the club, nothing against the club at all. Just education is really important, okay? That's all I got to say.